Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bites. My name is Clifton, and welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Tonight is going to be very different than my recent streams. I'm not going to say I've never done anything like this before, but it's been a good bit. Now, I know a lot of you guys did dry January. Maybe some of you are doing a dry week to recover from the Super Bowl, or maybe Mardi Gras, or whatever your reasons for looking for some non-alcoholic pours/drinks. I got you covered. So I should have probably done this stream during dry January. I realize a lot of you participated in that. I totally should have planned this earlier. I didn't participate in dry January this year, but I think it's a great time anytime throughout the year to try out different options for your beverages. And I say that because I'm the type of person that kind of builds a routine out of like settling in at the night, having something to drink, whether it's a beer, a glass of wine, a cocktail, a pour of whiskey. I kind of get into that habit of that. And I realize, like, hey, that's probably not the best habit to have every night. So I started looking for some options for some things to do outside of drinking alcohol, which there's not much. I'm just kidding. Totally just kidding. But no, seriously, I actually did a dry week mostly this week, other than Valentine's Day. We're going to Las Vegas this weekend, so I wanted to make sure my body was reset before Vegas, and I had some stuff to come back to recover after Vegas because I go hard in Vegas. So I picked up a bunch of different non-alcoholic beers. So tonight I'm going to be trying 6 different expressions. Now these are all name brand expressions. Yes, there are some other ones that are made exclusively as non-alcoholic beers. These are all brands you know and may or may not love, but they're all name brand beers. If you saw the thumbnail, I'm going to be reviewing Budweiser, Stella, Corona, Heineken, Guinness, and Blue Moon, all non-alcoholic options. So I want to do a bit of like a rating here. Like at some point of each of these, I want to find my favorite non-alcoholic beer. And I was trying to think of categories, and I feel like what I should do, let me know if this makes sense. Those of you watching live, hello, nice to see you. I'll give you some shout outs soon. Those of you watching the replay, I guess you'll just have to deal with it. But I think I'm going to rank these out of 5, but 3 different categories. 1, how beer-like is it? How similar is it to its alcoholic cousin? 2, I'm going to look at taste on its own, independently of how beer-like it is. Is it good? Do I want to drink this? 3, I'm going to look at value. I'm going to see which of these are the best bang for your buck when it comes for non-alcoholic beer. So I'm really excited to get through these. Let me know if that sounds good for ranking. Again, I have a wide variety here. Should be a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys can enjoy it as well. Now, if you're drinking, feel free to. Of course, this is totally just on your own time. I just want to make this video because I know people do dry weeks throughout the year, and I kind of wanted to have a piece of content on my channel that you can maybe watch. I did do a stream reviewing different non-alcoholic spirits, so if y'all want to check that out, that was probably last year. Just search non-alcoholic on my channel. You could probably find like one other video. But yeah, so definitely check that out. But I thought this would be a fun thing to try. I tend to drink beer most often, other than like whiskey and cocktails. My next category is beer. So all these brands, I'm very familiar with the flavor profile of their alcoholic version. But I want to see which of these are actually good. So let me know what you guys think. You may not be here for this. You may be here for the whiskey. Sorry, want to do something a little bit different. Like I said, doing a bit of a semi-dry week this week to prepare for Vegas. Want to do some shout outs. Zofra said plot twist, somehow Cliffy makes an appearance. Oh gosh. I'm not gonna be Cliffy. I'm gonna be like very like burpy. Like let's say gassy. I'll just be gassy, not Cliffy. Bradley, good to see you here, Brad. Hope you're doing well. Tony says, where was this content when I was doing dry January? I know. I didn't think to make this back then. Again, dry January is not something I participate in. I commend people that do. But yeah, next dry January, come out to the stream and watch it. Swan, what's up? This should be interesting. Swan, I hope you were doing well. I heard there was a bit of a fire situation at your apartment. I didn't realize it. I heard from some friends. So hopefully everything's okay. It wasn't your apartment. It was the one above you. But hopefully you and the pets are okay. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Tony, again, what he said on his other account. Good to see you. Hey, if you guys have not yet, hit the thumbs up button. It does help out the channel, especially with this type of content, because there's so much other non-alcoholic beer content on YouTube. Give this a thumbs up. Leave a comment after the show what your favorite was. Help bump this up in the algorithm, because I want to give my honest opinions on this. Fred is here as well. Taste and sensibility. Brandon, Emily, #moistfeb. I get it. Donnie, meowdy to you, my friend. Moist. Mind if I drink an alcoholic beer? No, of course not. Go ahead. Listen, I'm still going to do my after party after this stream, which is for everyone $10 and up on Patreon. Y'all know the drill. So y'all are welcome to drink whatever you are. Again, this is just me being aware that I'm going to overdrink this weekend. It's not that like I'm like trying really hard to like be sober or whatever. I always think with like when I do a bit of a dry week, it's always really hard the first day because I'm such in the habit of having a cocktail or whatever after work. But like this past week, I didn't drink at all until Wednesday night. We split a bottle of wine for Valentine's Day, but Monday was tough because I'm like, oof, I had just come off the weekend. Normally I do Dungeons and Drams, which is another collaboration channel I'm part of. So I'm used to drinking on Mondays. We didn't have a game this Monday, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be dry the next few days. And Monday was tough. Monday, that's actually why I picked up a couple of these. But then as soon as I got to Tuesday, I'm like, I don't need it. But everyone's journey is different. This is not a stream. As a support system, if you do need help, seek it out. There's people out there that'll support you. I'm here to support you, whether you're doing a dry week or you're trying to be sober. Probably not the best content to consume, but you know what? I'm here to support you as a friend. No, I'm not saying I have a problem. I'm saying I get in the habit of it. And to me, it's like not to the point where I feel like it's a problem, but it's a habit that I kind of want to try to break. That's why I'm going to try to do a few more dry days during the year. So that's actually kind of my New Year's resolution. It wasn't to do like dry January, wasn't like cut out drinking. It was to be more aware of my habits of drinking during the week. So that's kind of why I'm trying to test out, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, doing a dry partial week. Maybe not Mondays because we have Dungeons and Drams normally, but definitely Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So that's my goal for this year. Haven't succeeded every week, but that's my goal. I'm going to try it out a little bit. How will Clifton become Cliffy? Might have to be at the after party to find out. Oh, maybe. Not to say you guys can't convince me to get a pour or two in the after party. I'm not totally sober today. If you ever do non-alcoholic spirit comparison, please make some sort of cocktail. They're awful solo. I learned that with the one that I had. It was a brand that sent me the bottles, and with sparkling water they were good, and maybe with a little bit of, which I know you're not supposed to, but I put some bitters in it, which technically made it alcoholic, but it made it a little bit better. Donnie, thank you so much for dropping the Patreon info. Yeah, you guys check it out. There's currently a 30-day free trial at the $10 tier. So if you want to try it out, join our after party. Come see what it's all about. This past week, we had our monthly movie night. We watched a rom-com in advance of Valentine's Day. By the way, I hope you all had a great Valentine's Day. But we watched When Harry Met Sally, and I liked it. Actually, it's one of the few that I've enjoyed a lot so far. So get in on that. We'll do another one next month. Get your votes in for your favorite retro movie for me to watch, most of which I probably have not seen. Tasability, more than interested in the results, but I am sipping a real beer, but flavored by Satsuma and orange. Interesting. Oh, very interesting. Tony says the after party. How do I join that? I don't know, Tony. How do you leave that? Because I feel like, Tony, you're like, I don't remember leaving last time, which I've been there many, many a times. All right. Great turnout. Let's go ahead and Swan said he'll be on tonight after the meal prep. Awesome. Well, Swan, I hope to see you there. All right. So Donnie is streaming on his new 65-inch TV. Okay. Well, how does it look? Does it look okay? In full 4K. I'm not streaming in 4K. 1080p, hopefully, depending on my signal. But thanks for joining in, Donnie. All right. So like I said, we have 6 different beers to drink. And I was trying to think how to – normally I go up in proof, right? I start at the low proof and then I go up in ABV. Well, they're all 0. So I can't really do that. So I'm actually going to start based on price. I think that's probably the best way to go and order this. So let me go ahead and look at my first one that I picked up. My list here. Yeah, lowest price I paid for a non-alcoholic beer has to go to a classic, right? A very non-assuming can of Budweiser Zero. This is a 0 ABV version of Budweiser. Only 50 calories, full flavored, 0 alcoholic brew. Budweiser taste. So 0 sugar added, of course, only 50 calories. And this is like a, regular, 12-ounce can? Something like that. I don't know. Something like that. This was a 12-pack for about $13. So it basically comes out as just over $1 for a can. So I'm going to go ahead and the ones that are in cans, I'm going to pour into a glass just so you can see the color on it. The 3 of these are in glasses, so I didn't need to do that for it. But let me go ahead and open this Budweiser. Hope that wasn't too loud. Did I say it looks great on the TV? Oh, well, great to hear. All right, let's go ahead. I should grab a napkin because I'm going to probably spill some of these, but it's okay. All right. So right off the bat, I do like the color on this. I mean, Budweiser, right, is a lighter beer. It's a very approachable, easy drinker. I will say I'm more of a Bud Light kind of person anyways if I had a choice, because usually Maybe it's just a West Hollywood thing. I feel like I see Bud Light all the time and not Budweiser. So I usually drink Bud Light. I'm happy with it. It's fine for what it is for the price. But yeah, color wise, it's very what you would expect from a Budweiser. Now, I did let it settle down a bit. It definitely did have a bit of a head on it. But yeah, 0% ABV. Like I said, we're going to rate this based on beer, how beer like it is, what the taste is, and what the value is. Well, I'm already going to tell you value wise, this is getting what are we doing out of 5? This is getting a 5 on value. I mean, it's the cheapest one. It's literally $1 a can. Like you can't really beat that. So that's a 5 out of 5 value. Let's go ahead and I'm not going to give it a nose rating because I feel like that's not really fair with beer. But I'm going to go and smell it. It's pretty similar to what I expect from Budweiser. It's a little bit sour, like a little bit of like a soury. I don't want to say grape, but maybe like a sour apple kind of nose. Not sweet at all. It's definitely like malty, kind of like malt grain. Yeah, but to be fair, when is the last time I ever nosed a Budweiser? I cannot tell you. So let's go and give it a taste. Cheers. I was hopeful at first. The texture, the bubbles really did feel like a beer. Unfortunately, this one doesn't come close. I'll be perfectly honest. This doesn't have much taste at all. I was hopeful. It did have a nice smell to it. Yeah. Wow, that's really disappointing. If this is your first non-alcoholic beer, I could see being pretty upset about this. It tastes like highly carbonated sparkling water. Texture-wise, it's similar to a beer, but this is what I would imagine a beer would taste like if I had COVID and I drank beer. There's no beer-like taste to it all. In that category, it's getting a 1. Tastes nothing like a Budweiser. And then the next category, tastes with that as like an exception, right? Like I'm not looking at how beer like is it? How is it good? It's so lightly flavored. It's I mean, I'm gonna give it taste accessibility says any multi flavors at all. I don't. It's so light. I'm gonna give it a 2 on the taste only because it's not unpleasant. Like it's not like off-putting. It just tastes like a beer without any flavor whatsoever. By the way, Brandon, I saw your comment earlier said you should do a side by side with the alcoholic and non-alcoholic versions. That actually was my original plan. I was going to do that, but once I tried these, I actually tried them before the stream. Not all of them, but some of them. I knew that it would be very easy to pick out and compare, so I decided not to do that. I think I'd rather try 6 different ones of these versus like 3 or 4 compared to the original. I didn't think it was fair. I think that it's as as an alcoholic, and I don't want to say that, but as someone that does drink a lot, I think it's pretty obvious to me which ones are alcoholic and which ones aren't. But yeah, that's the reason I didn't do that, Brandon. But great option. I did consider it. Swan says the Guinness Zero isn't too bad. Well, Swan, stick around. Stick around. We got some. Brad said this is my exact feelings about every non-alcoholic beer. Well, we'll see. So Fred said you haven't tasted it yet. That value might change. I'm still going to give it a 5, Fred, only because I feel like if you just want something to sip on, you're at a party, you don't want the alcohol, sure. For $1.10 or whatever, it's fine. It will give you something to sip on. It's refreshing. It's crisp. It just has no flavor. So I'm giving a 1 in the beer like score, a 2 in the taste because I'm not off put by it. It's not disgusting, and a 5 in value out of 5 because I mean it's the cheapest one we got. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll go up from here. Hmm. All right. Next up, let me look at my order history to see what's the next value pour. Looks like it's Heineken. So this is actually one that I have some experience with. I went to a like a state fair last year, and they were sponsored by Heineken 00. So this is the 0.0% alcohol-free Heineken. Looks very similar to the regular one. I love that they still have it in a green bottle. Premium quality malt beverage with natural flavors. So it's still brewed in Holland. It's still, as you expect a Heineken. This is 11.2 ounces and 69 calories. So a bit more higher calories, 16 carbs. 16 grams of carbs, sorry. The ingredients are water, malted barley, and hop extract and flavor. So this one for a 6 pack. Basically, I tried to get 6 packs of all of these. The Budweiser came in a 12 pack cans, which is the only way to buy it. But a 6 pack of this Heineken Zero Zero is about $9. So it is that like $1.50 ish each, something like that. It's like $1.50. But it is in a glass bottle. So let's go ahead and open this up. Use my fancy little. This is basically like a corkscrew / bottle opener. This is like my favorite tool. I don't know where we got this, maybe Amazon, but literally I can open any bottle with this. Taste and sensibility makes a great point. No alcohol taxes. That is true. That is very true. So it does come in a little bit cheaper, but it's still a fair price point. I mean, $1.50-ish per. All right, got some nice bubbles going on here. Now color, I mean, it's this. I guess I can pour this in a glass. I was gonna say, oh, you can see it in the bottle, but it is a green tinted bottle. So color wise, about the same as the Budweiser. A little bit more. I don't know. I feel like it's a little. The head's staying around a little bit longer than the Budweiser did, but again, that could be a can versus bottle thing versus a quality thing. Let's go ahead and give it a nose. Oh, that same. Okay, tell me if I'm crazy, but every time I have a beer out of a green bottle, I get a hint of a little, like little smoky substance smell. I'm in California; it's legal, but for some reason, I always get that on green bottles, and Heineken's no exception. The alcoholic version of it, I get it too. I think I looked it up one time, and it was something about the fact that sunlight can get into the bottle and kind of give it a little bit of a funky smell. Not really taste; it's mostly the smell. This one has that funk. Yeah, it's like a mix of that, but it also kind of smells like, weirdly enough, like hand soap or like not laundry detergent, but dishwasher detergent. It's not really a pleasant nose, just all around. It's just like it smells clean. I mean, when I say pleasant, like if it's just a like a smell of like a soap, it smells fine. But like as an alcoholic beverage, or non-alcoholic beverage, it doesn't smell very good. Emily's got me with the skunk. Yeah. Only if stored improperly in the sun. Well, so far I've heard that before, but every single time I've had a green bottle beer, I get that. Never with whiskey. I have a lot of whiskeys in green bottles, but only beers. Fred still believes it's the hops, not the bottle. Maybe, but I only get this on the green bottles. And I think it's a mix of both. What Zophar and Fred just said. It's the sunlight and it's also the hoppiness of it. So this did say hop flavor was added. Yeah, not loving the nose on this, but let's go ahead and give it a taste. Cheers. Okay, light as well. Very light on the flavor, but there's way more maltiness. There's more malt. It blows away that Budweiser malt. I mean, this actually does taste it. They said there's malted barley in the ingredients. This is not bad. Let me drink it out of the bottle, which is probably how I'd enjoy it most of the time. It's refreshing. I mean, definitely. It does have a beer like flavor. I think it's obviously, like I said, I don't think I would confuse it for the alcoholic version, but I think beer likeness, I would give this a 3. I think it's, texture wise, it's very similar to a beer. There's that maltiness. There's, there's an essence of the fact that this is a beer, whereas the Budweiser did not have that. Yeah, so I'm gonna give that a 3 on the beer like scale. Zophar said try it blind. Oh, like all of them blind? I mean, I also thought about that, but it's like I don't really have any favorites. Like it's like these budget brands like Budweiser, Heineken, Stella, like Blue Moon, like I don't have preferences, so I don't think blinding it would help in this situation. I'm just giving honest opinions on these individual products. When I'm giving the beer like scale, it's not compared to like the standard version of that. It's just like what I think this is a beer. That's getting a 3 because like this could be mistaken for a very, very, very light beer. Yeah. I think it's fine. Brandon says I refuse to drink beer from the cans. They do not taste good, and you can taste the difference. Oh yeah, 100%. If I had a choice, I'm picking the bottle every time. Now, okay, so it's a 3 out of 5 on the beer like. It's actually pretty nice. I could see this being a good replacement. Taste though, just on its own. Um, oh, next we have a green bottle. Okay, gotcha, Zopher. That's a good, great point. It definitely will. Taste now, not inclusive of it being beer like. Let's see how it tastes. It's refreshing. It's hoppy, not hoppy like IPA, but just like has a hint of that. There's not much complaining to do there. I think taste, I'm gonna give that a 4. It's a 4 out of 5. It's not like the best thing I've ever had, but whoops, sorry, that was loud. But I could drink that happily. I mean, like if I'm sitting on the couch doing a dry week or whatever, this is a great choice. Now value, not quite as good as the buff or almost a Buffalo Trace. You can tell my mind's into whiskey, but not great as good as the Budweiser, which was very cheap. I'm gonna give it a 4. I think it's the next most affordable of these that I bought. I think it's still a fair price, about $1.50 a bottle. You get the bottle first of all. Yeah, that one did pretty well. So I'm really curious to see um, how we go through the rest of these because we have 4 more to try. If you guys are doing a drinking game to this, see how often I like burp because I try to hold it in, but sometimes they sneak out of it. Let's see. I bought my friend Heineken Zero when she was pregnant. I had left some Grolsch at their house, and she accidentally drank one of those. Same green bottle you see. Ah, I see. I'm not familiar with Grolsch, but I imagine that's a alcoholic beer. I don't know. I try not to drink any beer out of a can or bottle. You got to get let that carbonation breathe. That's ideal. I do typically like to pour into a glass. Like if offered at a restaurant, I'll pour into a glass. Also, hi Patrick. All right, let's move on. We got 4 more beers to try. So value wise, next up we have what I consider normally more of like a premium beer, right? I'm not doing a shot every time you burp. Okay, Tony, fair enough. So Stella Artois, I still think that's how it's pronounced. This is a release by them called Liberte. Liberty? I don't know. I'm not French. 0.0% ABV. This is a if you see the Liberté or whatever, it signifies that it's their non-alcoholic beer. This one is 59 calories, so a bit lower calorie than the Heineken. 13.2 grams of carbs, 1.5 grams of protein. Yeah, this is also labeled as an alcohol-free malt beverage with natural flavors. So, I mean, pretty much, just like I think of it as like it's not going to be offered as like your domestic like Budweiser equivalent. Same with Heineken, I guess, as well. But to me, this is like a step up. By the way, it's $1 more. So this basically comes out to about $1.75 ish per. I mean, yeah, okay. I'm sorry. For me, from South Carolina, this is the fancy stuff. It's just a little more premium than like Budweiser, is the point I was making. So this one I have to peel the paper off of it because it has like this weird part that I don't want to get my mouth on. So this is the Stella. Let me pour it in a glass as well since it is a green bottle. You know how I feel about green bottles now? Oh, color-wise, this is it's almost the same. I actually thought it was a little bit lighter, but it's almost the same as the last one. It actually comes up a little bit more golden. Like it's not necessarily darker, but it has more of a golden hue than like a pale yellow. I'm not a fancy. I'm not good with colors. That's why I don't mention color on my whiskey reviews. But yeah, it's a little more. In terms of like the head and like bubbles, it's a lot more like the Budweiser. The head didn't stick around long. There's a lot of little tiny bubbles in here. But let's give it a smell. Okay, less of the skunky green smell. This is almost like a roasted malty note. Whereas the other one just kind of had like a nice, like healthy heaping of like malt. This is like a roasted, like almost like a coffee bean. It's a really interesting nose. Does not smell like a beer at all. I would not associate this with a beer. Brad says, I'm a fan of Stella. Belgian beer is great. Tony says Stella. Did Donnie say? Oh. Whiskey Burger in the house. PBR is no Miller High Life, the champagne of beer. Yeah, so Brett's in the house, checking in from Daytona. Too much fun going on to hang out, but wanted to say hi. Well, Brett, thank you so much for stopping in. Enjoy Daytona. I'm drinking some non-alcoholic beer, so I'm there in spirit just for tonight. But cheers. Good to see you. Yeah, the nose of this is like a roasty, popcorny. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the nose, but again, it's a beer. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Cheers. Hmm. Okay. Still that funky note. That funky note. It's like a. I just want to compare it to the last one. Yeah. The last one is so much like beer like. This one doesn't drink like a beer at all. It almost kind of tastes like it's gonna sound awful. It almost tastes like a backwash of a beer. Like if you want to take a sip of beer and like you choke on it and you spit it back in the glass. That sounds so awful. But that's the vibe I'm getting from this Stella. The Stella Liberte. I don't know. Let me try it out of the bottle. Yeah, that like roasty flavor they have going on, I don't think it works. I will say it does give it body. Maybe that's what they were going for. I think they knew that the fact that these non-alcoholic beers don't have body, that's what makes them pretty obviously different from the regular ones. They added like a bit of like a roasty flavor, which like it just doesn't replicate beer at all. Tony says, please wrench me. I can't do that in StreamYard, dude. It'd have to be during another stream, but Donnie, no bullying. Yeah, this Stella, okay. In terms of beer like, try one more time. It's reminiscent of a beer. It's nothing like any Stellas I've had before. I'm gonna give it a 2 because it just doesn't taste. It tastes like it could be like a really crafty beer, a really light crafty beer, but it's not good. I don't like it. Now, taste wise, not considering it being a beer, I think it's like between a 2 and a 3. Can I do a 2.5? I mean, it's my own rating scale, so I guess I can, right? I'm gonna give it a 2.5. It's not a 3, but it's 2 feels a little harsh on the taste. It just isn't my vibe. It's definitely not the vibe I was looking for with the non-alcoholic beer. Now value, it's pretty similar to Heineken. I think, let me see what the next one is just so I can make sure I'm being fair. I'm gonna give it a 4 as well. It's close enough to the Heineken. Value, it's a 4. I didn't really love that one. Was not quite my jam. But maybe if you're like a huge Stella fan, you might like it. To me, it tasted nothing like I remember that tasting, but again, I don't know. Just not my jam. All right. We're at the halfway point. We have 3 more beers to try. Let's get into it. By the way, if you have not yet subscribed or hit the thumbs up button, it really does help out the channel. I'll be back with more regularly scheduled alcohol content next week. But again, prepping for Vegas this weekend, I'm wanting to get myself in a healthy-ish state before then. So we're drinking non-alcoholic beer. By the way, what's interesting is a lot of these have some of these aren't 0.0. And the reason they distinguish 0.0 on the Bud, the Heineken, the Stella, and a couple other ones is some other non-alcoholic beers have less than 0.5% ABV. So the method they use does have a little bit of alcohol in it. None of the ones we've done so far do, but just be aware if you're doing it for religious reasons or whatever. Some of these do have some alcohol. It's a very minute amount. If you're pregnant, of course, consult your doctor, but a lot of people consider them safe enough to drink if you're pregnant because 0.5% ABV is very, very low. Again, consult your doctor. I'm not a doctor. But yeah, so these ones we've had so far are 0.0, absolutely no alcohol. But maybe we'll see what happens when things. Oh, there it goes. I'm trying to hold it in, but When we bump it up a little bit. So let's go to our next one. By the way, it can be considered non-alcoholic and be 0.5% or less, just FYI. So double check your labels if you are concerned. Let's go to one that this actually was one of my favorite beers for a long time. This is the Blue Moon. Like when I was first starting getting into drinking, Blue Moons would be what I would go to. This is a non-alcoholic Belgian white wheat beer. So this one comes in at, it's also less than 0.5% alcohol. So this is the first one that has trace amounts of alcohol in it. Calories, it's 60. Carbs, 17 grams, 0 fat, and 1 gram of protein. So this one, let's see, do they have a description of what it is? Brewed with Valencia orange peel. So again, same as their standard wheat beer. That's all I'm really saying. Oh, malt beverage brewed with natural flavors. So that's what we saw in the other one. I realized I still have some of this one. Let me finish it. That was the Heineken, so it actually wasn't that bad. Yeah, I don't like that Stella at all. All right, let's go ahead and open the Blue Moon and see how it is. All right, so let's go and pour this in the glass. All right, so a little bit cloudy on this one. I don't know if you can see that. There's like some cloudiness to the it's looking a little hazy. I like that. The head's really nice. Not those small bubbles like we were seeing in some of these other ones. It definitely has a very thick, creamy kind of head on it, which is always good. Let's give it a nose. Mm. A little bit like still that detergent, that soapy kind of note. Smells a little bit of that. It does have that orange, like an orange peel or like an orange oil. But it kind of smells like a dish soap still. I don't know. Like I said, Blue Moon was kind of my beginner beer when I was getting into beer. This doesn't the orange is familiar, but the soapiness, not a normal smell that I'm used to with this one. Taste and Sensibility says I drink Blue Moon at an Indian restaurant I frequent a couple times a month. It goes really well. Oh, I imagine. Yeah. It's a great one to pair with food for sure. All right. Let's go ahead and give a try to the Blue Moon non-alcoholic Belgian wheat beer. Mm. Mm. That's not it. It's like orange. Like I have some orange bitters, like store orange bitters that I sometimes put in cocktails, like gin cocktails especially. This kind of just tastes like it's like soapy water with orange, like a little bit sweeter orange oils in it. Not the worst thing I've ever tried, but nothing like a Blue Moon, like at all. Like other than that orange, it's very soapy, very. Yeah, it does feel creamy, which is a nice mouthfeel. Again, they go for that because it's such a lot of these non-alcoholic beers are very thin, no body. It does have body, as Fred Cliffy, yeah, you know what? Cliffy makes an appearance. He doesn't have to be drunk. I like the body on that. I will say it, but beer, for the body, yes. Taste, not at all. Yeah, I don't think I would ever confuse that as a beer. As a kombucha or something, maybe. On the beer like scale, that's getting a 1. That's just nothing beer like about that at all. Taste wise, though, if you're looking for an orange, like an orange essence, it's almost like an orange LaCroix with a creamier texture. Not quite like a creamsicle, but like in that realm, not as sweet. I don't know if I want to give it a 3. I think this might also be a 2.5. Where's my lemon wedge garnish or orange peel? Sometimes I see them down this one. Yeah, it doesn't taste like kombucha. I think it's just like more of like it just tasting fruity or something. I'm gonna give this a 2.5. I don't like it. I wouldn't necessarily drink it again. I mean, no, that's a 2. That's not a 2.5. It's weird. I don't like it. Value, this is more expensive than anything we've had so far. Almost $2 a bottle. It's getting a 3. 3 on value. That just isn't. That's probably the lowest ranking one I've done so far. Hmm. Yeah, I don't like that. I will pass on this one moving forward. This Blue Moon, sorry, not my jam at all. But you know what? We got 2 more to drink. Next up was probably would be what I drink the most of beers. Like if I'm drinking beer, most of the time it's a Mexican lager, whether it's a Corona or a Modelo or even there's a local brewery that does a Buena Vesa. I think it's Stone that does that. This is a non-alcoholic Corona, Mexican style lager. Less than 0.5% alcohol, 60 calories, malt beverage with natural flavors. Looks very much like a Corona. Now, of course, when I typically have a Corona, I always put it on in a or with some lime. We're not going to do that because we're doing it all a fair comparison today. But I can imagine, I can already kind of imagine what that would taste like. Let's go ahead and give this a try. Now, color-wise, I mean, that's spot on. To be fair, it's similar color to the rest of them, but like this is what a Corona looks like. I mean, if it, like color-wise, it looks exactly like a regular Corona. Now, that's not to say the other ones didn't, but I'm just so used to this clear glass. It's very, very familiar to me. Let's go ahead and give it a nose. I'm not going to pour this into a tasting glass because again, it's a clear bottle. You can see the color. Okay. Kind of light of nose. It is mildly Corona-esque. Definitely not that really bright citrusy note that I would kind of expect, even though I know there's no lime in Corona. Kind of does have like a brighter citrusy, kind of orange note, not like Blue Moon, but definitely a brighter note. Not getting much on the nose. Again, I'm smelling out of the bottle, which is not normal. Let's go ahead and give it a taste. Let's try Corona non-alcoholic brew. Cheers. Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. You know how I said earlier, like I didn't want to do it blind compared to like the real alcoholic versions because like I can obviously tell. This is the first one that would trick me. Doesn't quite have the full bite of a beer, but flavor-wise, that is spot on. Like, I almost had to double check the label. I'm like, it drinks like a really light version of Corona. Texture-wise, it's a match. It's not quite creamy like the Blue Moon was, but it has like some like really small. I feel like if I poured this would have those tiny bubbles that kind of make it a little more fizzy. Really good malt flavor, really bright malt. Not like that roastiness that the Stella was giving. This is bright. This is refreshing. This is what I imagine sitting on a beach drinking, which is what I typically do with Coronas, anyways. That's nice. I mean, that's the most beer like of them all so far. We still have a Guinness to try. I like that. If I was really striving to go dry for a week or whatever, or if I had to be sober, I could drink that all day. I mean, that's 60 calories too. But it's that much better because of the 0.49999% alcohol. And it's still brewed in Mexico, by the way. It's still like legit Corona. That's good. I mean, that's beer like. That's the most beer like of them all. I'm giving that a 4.5 out of 5 because it doesn't have the bite. It's missing a little bit of a bite, but that's a 4.5. That is very, very close to beer like. Tony said you got to pour the Guinness. It's a crime not to. Okay, we can pour it. Yeah, it's in a can, so I was gonna pour it anyways. That's the last one, but we had to get this Corona tasting first. Pat said, I'd rather just be sober than drink near beer or fake whiskey. I mean, true. But, like, if you're just trying to cut back for a short period of time, I think these are a good fit. God, they're catching up. The fifth beer is finally catching up to me. This is great. Price wise, it's also the same price as the Blue Moon, so it's getting a 3 on value. It's a little more pricey. Taste though, I think it's my first 5 out of 5. That super drinkable, refreshing, makes me want to be sitting on a beach somewhere. That's getting a 5 out of 5 on taste. So I can tell it's not a Corona because it doesn't have that bite that a beer has, which you probably can't replicate. That is delicious. I like that a lot. We got one more to try though. The one that I think a lot of you guys have been waiting for. I've been waiting for it as well. This is Guinness Zero. Now, there's another version of this called Guinness 0.0. I don't know if it's discontinued or maybe they just don't have it in my area. But this one does have at least 0. Or less than 0.5% ABV. It's a bit of a bigger can, 14.9 fluid ounces. Malt beverage with natural flavors. Oh, it focused for like half a second. Beautiful design, by the way. I love the look of this can. So cool. Yeah, 14.9% fluid ounces. 60 calories. Now that's for a 12-ounce serving, so it kind of gets you there. I was like, there's definitely like more beer in here. 13.5 grams of carbohydrates and 1.1 gram of protein per 12 ounces. Brewed in Ireland. All right, chill, open, pour, and enjoy. So, but I mean, if we're judging the looks of the can, I mean, it's beautiful. I love that color combination. Let's go and open it up. Ooh, wow, that is. I don't know if you can see, but there's some smoke coming out of there. That was a very intense. Opening, and I don't know if this is nitro. This is draft, but it doesn't necessarily say nitro. Okay, you guys asked for it to pour it, so let's go ahead and pour this Guinness Zero. Wow, I've been looking forward to trying this one. I do love good Guinness. Honestly, like when I'm in Vegas, there's quite a few Irish pubs that I go to. I always got to get a Guinness. Wow, look at the color on this. I mean, that is dark. Really creamy head there. I mean, some little bubbles, you can see it in there. Sorry, it's really hard to show because it's really bright. But I mean, this look-wise, this looks exactly like a Guinness. Wow. So creamy. Brandon says all Guinness in cans have a nitro ball inside, which would explain that there was some noise if you heard it earlier. So it is a nitro. Okay, cool. Good to know. Now, this price-wise, this was the most pricey. I think it was like, how much did I pay for this? Let's see. Zero. I don't have my receipt for that because I bought that one from Bevmo. Let me see how much Bevmo charges for it. The rest were from Total Wine, but pick this up at Bevmo. $10 for a 4-pack. So it's definitely the priciest of them all. I'm gonna give it a 2 on value because it is pricey. And it's a bigger can, but you only get 4 of them. It's getting a 2 on value. It's tough because Guinness is normally more expensive anyways. 2.5. Dang it. Okay. 2.5 on value. But man, look at this color. Let's go and give it a nose. Okay. It has roastiness, which is what I would expect from a Guinness, not a Stella. Still a very, very light nose. All these have a very light nose compared to their alcoholic counterparts. This almost has, okay, this is going to move me to the south, but if you've ever had boiled peanuts, or bowl peanuts, as we say, boiled peanuts, there's a bit of like a salty, briny kind of nutty note that I don't normally get on Guinness, but I'm getting it here on this 0% ABV one. It's definitely not beer-like on the nose, but let's see how it is on the palate. Whoa. Okay. Wow. Roasty, malty, still a little bit boiled peanutty, but that is very, very good imitation of what a alcoholic Guinness has. Again, it lacks the bite completely. This is more noticeable than the Corona. The Corona is such a lighter flavor. This though, it's pretty obvious that the bite. I don't know how to describe it, but bite. Like beer just has like a bit of like a sharpness that this is all lacking, which could just be the alcohol. It's pretty dang similar to a Guinness. It's just very light. Beer like flavor out of five. I'm gonna give this one a. I'm gonna go 4. It's not as beer like as that Corona, but I could see this being like an off brand, you know, Irish stout. I don't. It's definitely not as good as Guinness to me on the taste, but it's a pretty good close dupe for it. Pat says being sober and social is one thing, but if you're trying to prove a point, you don't aim to have an prove point. You don't aim to have a drinking problem. Dry week. I feel that drinking alcohol adjacent products are just as bad as the real thing. Yeah, it's all mental. Again, I'm not trying to be like curing people of alcoholism or whatever. This is just for fun. This is just for fun. But Brad says Amber is happy to hear that Guinness is ranking high. Oh, it is. It is. I think it just Guinness has a bit of like a bite that I feel like it's missing. It's more obvious in the Corona. Taste though, this is where I think it might do well. This is enjoyable. This is a sipper. Now, being the last one I'm drinking, it's not super cold compared to the rest. So I think it might be hurt a little bit by that. But again, I give them all a fair shot. Taste, I'm going to give this a 4. I don't think it's my favorite, but it's a very good. I think I would happily drink this. That's what I said about the Heineken, which I also gave before. So I would happily drink it. So that's how I feel. Let me do sums of all these. Let me see. All right. So we're gonna rank these based on my scores. By the way, thank you all. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. We're gonna give us our ranking of which one's my favorite, which was my least favorite. So my least favorite, based on total amount of points, this one only got a 6 out of a 15 possible points. This one, it's just I would never buy again. This is the Blue Moon non-alcoholic Belgian white. It has a weird orange, artificial, sour, nasty. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I would not buy that one. Now, next, we're jumping up 2 points with an average score of 8. This one had the highest value of them all because it was the cheapest, only like $1.10 a can. Goes to Budweiser Zero. A 12 pack for like $13. Again, it gets an 8 because it's a great value. It's not off-putting of a taste. Nothing like beer though. All right, next up, it's a very close tie between these two. I'm really surprised by this. My fourth place actually goes to Stella, which honestly, from my memory, I thought I liked that a little bit less than Budweiser, but the points don't lie. Yeah, it's not my jam. I wouldn't drink either of these again. The Budweiser I could slam because it's like, refreshing, I guess, but it tastes like sparkling water. It still has a bit of an off taste. I mean, they're only 0.5 points apart. So, close. But my top 3 are pretty drastically higher than all of these. So my number 3 in best non-alcoholic beers goes to the Guinness. And this one was the most expensive. It tastes great. It's pretty beer-like. Not quite, you could tell that it's not a Guinness, but they've done a great job replicating that flavor. Malty, roasty. A great buy if you like darker beers. My second place, my number 2 place. Wow, Cliffy's not here, but he's here. Is only 0.5 points higher. This one comes in at 11 points. So the Guinness was 10.5. This one with a grand total of 11 points goes to Heineken 0.0. Like I said, this is one that I've had before. They sponsored an event here in Southern California, and I was really impressed by it. Again, it impresses me. It's not necessarily beer-like, but it has a great taste. It's a great price. You're paying a little bit more than the Budweiser, but I think it's a better buy. Plus, you get a glass bottle. It's definitely more beer-like than either of those two, but yeah, it's a close second. But my first place, with a whopping 12.5 out of 15 points. This one was knocked pretty low in value because it's relatively pricey compared to the other ones, but it gets a 4.5 beer like and a 5 out of 5 taste, resulting in 12.5 total score of 12.5. That's what I was trying to say. Goes to my number one non-alcoholic beer of the 6 I have in front of me tonight, Corona non-alcoholic. This is, well, am I a little biased? Maybe because this is the type of beer. I do love a Mexican lager. It's my go-to type of beer. But I mean, man, this is the only one that could confuse me of being a beer. I think it's a combination of that brightness in the malt. The other ones have a darker malt that doesn't really feel beer-like. This brightness almost gives it something similar to the bite that I expect from a beer. Flavor-wise, it's pretty close to what Corona tastes like. I mean, even if I wasn't comparing it to Corona, I think it tastes great. Yeah, I'm gonna buy this regularly. 60 calories, especially if I'm just looking for something to have like, midday with my lunch or whatever. I think this would pair with a lot of different foods. I love Corona and seafood and things like that. This is gonna be a staple in my fridge. So well done, Corona, with the non-alcoholic option. Again, gotta give my hand to Guinness and Heineken, both great options. But for me, it's gotta be the Corona. That's definitely my favorite non-alcoholic beer of them all. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this stream. There are a couple more beers out there. There's some that are brewed specifically to be non-alcoholic. So they're not the brand names like these that you know. There's one that I have that's an IPAs actually. It's I forget the name of it's a brewery made exclusively to make non-alcoholic beers. If y'all want to see me try those, like not the brand name ones, but the more niche craft non-alcoholic beers that might be a little bit better, let me know. Or if you want me to go back to bourbon like normal, I got plenty of it, then we'll do that. Next week, we're having a very special guest. It's a guy that I actually reached out recently. He is making his own bourbon barrel-aged vinegar-based hot sauce. He's based in North Carolina. He reached out and he sent me a sample, so I cannot wait to try it. He's a bourbon lover as well. So we're going to be drinking some bourbon, trying some hot sauce, and yeah, just having a great time. So I will see you guys very, very soon next week. Like I said, I'm going to go to Vegas this weekend. So if I'm a little bit MIA, it's because I am drinking highly alcoholic beverages. But thank y'all for joining me this for a little bit of a different stream. I will see those of you that are going to the after party over on Discord. If you're not on Discord, you can join. Go to bourbonbites.com. Everyone is welcome on the Discord. But if you do want to join our after party, like I said, there's that 30-day trial of the Patreon membership. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button on your way out. And until next time, this has been Bourbon Bites, whiskey reviews with an 80s twist. Cheers, and I'll see you guys next Thursday. Bye.